All right, so I never thought I'd be sharing this story, but here we go. Last year, my entire life turned upside down in the span of like 48 hours. One second, I'm planning a weekend getaway with my boyfriend Jason, and the next, I'm sitting in some sterile doctor's office being told I have stage 3 Hodgkin's lymphoma. Talk about a plot twist, right? Jason and I had been together for 5 years. We met at a friend's housewarming party where he spilled his entire solo cup of Coors Light down my new Lululemon leggings. Somehow that disaster turned into exchanging numbers, and before you know it, we were that couple everyone thought would be sending out wedding invites any day. We even had a joint savings account with over $43,000 that we'd been squirreling away for a down payment on a house. When the doctor dropped the C-bomb, I was obviously freaking out. But I remember thinking, at least I have Jason. Y'all, I couldn't have been more wrong. The night after my diagnosis, I came home to find half his clothes missing and a note that just said, I can't do this. No goodbye, no conversation, nothing. Just poof. Gone like my appetite during chemo. But wait, it gets better. The next day, I checked our joint account, completely empty, and then I got a text that I'll literally never forget. You're not worth the investment anymore. Who says that to someone they supposedly loved for 5 years? Who says that to anyone with cancer? I spent that whole night crying on my bathroom floor, thinking this had to be some twisted nightmare. My parents drove 3 hours to be with me the next day and pretty much didn't leave my side after that. Thank God for them. Seriously. The next 6 months were brutal. Like, imagine the worst hangover of your life, multiply it by 1,000, add in hair loss, and that's still not even close. I had these intense rounds of chemo at Memorial Sloan Kettering where the nurses knew my Starbucks order by heart. Venti iced coffee with extra vanilla sweet cream. Liquid calories were about all I could handle. My mom would bring her iPad loaded with episodes of The Office to distract me during treatments. My dad started learning how to cook actually edible food for the first time in his 60 years of life. During all of this, radio silence from Jason. He blocked me everywhere. It was like our relationship had been some weird fever dream. My friends wanted to hunt him down. Shout out to my girl Rachel, who literally Googled how to slash tires without getting caught. LOL. But honestly, I was too exhausted from fighting cancer to fight anything else. Then, around month 5 of treatment, my oncologist, Dr. Martinez, literal angel on earth, came in with this huge smile and told me I was responding incredibly well to treatment. The tumor had shrunk by over 70%. For the first time in months, I felt something besides nausea, hope. By month 7, I was officially in remission. My hair was starting to grow back in this weird peach fuzz way that made me look like a baby bird. But I was alive, folks. We celebrated with a small party at my parents' place where I managed to eat an entire slice of Cheesecake Factory cheesecake without throwing up. Major win. I decided to move back to my apartment in the city and try to piece my life back together. New job at an architecture firm, my old one had been amazing and kept my position. New outlook, new everything. I even adopted this grumpy, one-eyed cat from the shelter and named him Remission. Remy for short. Then, about 2 weeks after moving back, I'm scrolling through Instagram while eating Kraft mac and cheese straight from the pot. Don't judge. And I see something that makes me choke on my noodles. My cousin Amber's post, a close-up of her hand with a massive diamond ring, and tagged in the photo, Jason, my Jason. The caption, I never expected to find love with you, but some things are just meant to be. Engaged future Mrs. Nelson, are you kidding me? I immediately called my mom, who went really quiet before admitting that yes, she knew they were dating but didn't want to upset me during treatment. Apparently, they got together just 2 weeks after he left me, and the cherry on top of this garbage sundae? He told everyone I was probably not going to make it, so he needed to move on with his life. He told people I was dead or dying while stealing our house fund, and my own cousin just went with it? I sat there for a long time after hanging up, just petting Remy and thinking, I could go scorched earth right now. I could post medical records, screenshots, the whole 9 yards. I could show up at family dinner and create the most epic scene ever witnessed outside of a Real Housewives reunion. Or I could play the long game. Y'all, I chose option B, and that's how I found myself texting Amber the next day. OMG, just heard the news. So happy for you. We should catch up. Updated. The look on Amber's face when we met for coffee at Starbucks was priceless. Like she'd seen a ghost, which technically, according to her fiancé, I was supposed to be. She nearly dropped her caramel macchiato when I walked in. My pixie-length hair now dyed this fierce platinum blonde. My post-cancer rebrand, if you will. Riley, you look amazing, she stammered, eyes darting around like she was searching for the nearest exit. Her perfectly manicured fingers were tapping nervously on the table. I wasn't sure if you'd want to see me. Why wouldn't I asked, sliding into the chair across from her with the biggest, fakest smile I could muster. We're family. The next hour was an Oscar-worthy performance on my part. I listened as she nervously explained how she and Jason connected during a difficult time and how she never meant to hurt me. But true love happens when you least expect it. Gag me with a Panera bread spoon. Jason told me you guys had broken up before your diagnosis, she said, not quite meeting my eyes. He was really torn up about the timing. I nodded sympathetically. Oh, totally. That must have been so hard for him. Finding out your ex has cancer right after you break up. Super awkward. She visibly relaxed, clearly buying my act. By the end of our coffee date, I had not only forgiven them both, but had also offered my services as an architect to help design renovations for the fixer-upper they'd bought. With my money, though she didn't know that part. Are you sure? That would be amazing, Amber gushed. Jason's been stressed about finding someone good within our budget. I bet he has, considering that budget was stolen from me while I was puking my guts out at chemo. The next few months were a masterclass in patience. I met with them multiple times, taking detailed notes about their dream home, nodding enthusiastically at Jason's terrible design ideas. He barely made eye contact with me at first, but gradually grew comfortable as he realized I wasn't going to cause a scene. Meanwhile, I was building my case. I hired a lawyer who specialized in financial fraud cases and gathered all the evidence of our joint account, the timing of the withdrawal, text messages, everything. I also did some digging and discovered Jason had been fired from his financial advisor job 3 months ago for ethical concerns, but had told Amber he was still working there. Interesting. I also reconnected with our mutual friends, who were shocked and furious when they learned the truth. Many of them had been told by Jason that we broke up before my diagnosis, and that he'd tried to stay friends but it was too painful. The lies this man told could fill a trilogy of novels. The wedding invitations went out, and sure enough, I received one. The irony of being invited to watch my ex marry my cousin using money he stole from me while I was fighting cancer. You can't make this stuff up, folks. The venue they'd chosen was the Gardenia Hotel downtown, one of those places where they charge you $15 for a glass of mediocre champagne, and the appetizers are literally 3 shrimp on a tiny plate. 2 weeks before the big day, I got a text from Amber asking if I'd help with their wedding slideshow. You're so good with that creative stuff, she wrote. Plus, Jason mentioned you have some really nice photos from your trips together that we could include. The audacity. But I replied, I'd be honored. Send me whatever photos you have, and I'll put something beautiful together. Oh, I'd make something beautiful, all right. The night before the wedding, I couldn't sleep. My best friend Rachel came over with a bottle of Tito's vodka, which I still couldn't drink because of my meds, but the gesture was nice, and we went over the plan one last time. Are you sure about this? She asked, sipping her Moscow Mule. You could still back out. I looked at Remy, who was sprawled across my lap, judging everyone as usual. I spent 6 months fighting for my life while the man I loved told people I was dying so he could justify stealing from me and hooking up with my cousin. So yeah, I'm sure. The morning of the wedding arrived with perfect dramatic timing, dark storm clouds gathering outside my window. I took extra time getting ready, determined to look like the absolute best version of myself. My red dress, deliberately chosen because Amber had asked bridesmaids to wear blush pink, fit perfectly now that I'd regained the weight I'd lost during treatment. When I arrived at the Gardenia, the ceremony was already over, intentional on my part, and the reception was just beginning. I slipped the flash drive with my slideshow to the DJ, explaining I was handling this part as a special surprise for the bride and groom. Cool, he said, barely looking up from his equipment. I'll play it right after the best man's speech. I found my seat at a table with distant relatives who kept saying how brave I was for attending. If they only knew. My parents had refused to come, which had caused a whole family drama. They were the only ones besides Rachel who knew what I was about to do. The best man, Jason's college roommate Tyler, gave a slurred speech about how Jason always gets the hot ones. Super classy. And then the DJ announced there was a special presentation. The lights dimmed, and I felt my heart hammering as the screen lit up. The slideshow began innocently enough. Photos of Amber and Jason, some cheesy transition effects, Ed Sheeran playing in the background. Their choice, not mine. Then, about 2 minutes in, the music changed to Carrie Underwood's Before He Cheats, and boom, screenshots of bank statements showing the $43,000 withdrawal the day after my diagnosis, followed by a photo of my chemo treatment dated the same week. Next slide, Jason's text saying I wasn't worth the investment anymore. Next, screenshots of conversations where he told friends I was probably not going to make it. The gasps around the room were getting louder. Jason jumped up, lunging toward the DJ booth, but he was too late. The final slides revealed his termination letter from his firm. Amazing what you can find in someone's cloud storage when they never change their password from your anniversary date. Followed by screenshots of him on Tinder while engaged to Amber. And, the pièce de résistance, Messages between him and yet another woman arranging meetups at the Holiday Inn Express off Highway 30. The screen went black, and the room was so quiet you could hear ice melting in the overpriced cocktails. I stood up, smoothed my dress, and walked to the center of the room. "Congratulations on your special day," I said, my voice steady. "I wanted to give you both a gift of truth. Oh, and Jason, I'm suing you for the $43,000 plus damages. You'll be hearing from my lawyer tomorrow." Final update, it's been a year since what my friends now call the wedding massacre. And honestly, life is pretty sweet on this side of chaos. The aftermath was exactly the spectacle you'd imagine. Amber's dad, my uncle, literally picked Jason up by his rented tux collar and threw him out of the reception. My Aunt Margaret, who's like 5'0" and pushing 70, dumped an entire pitcher of sangria over his head in the parking lot. Family legend status achieved. I won my lawsuit, obviously. Jason didn't even show up to court. The judge ordered him to repay the full $43,000 plus another $20,000 in damages. When he couldn't pay, they garnished his wages from his new job at Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Quite the step down from financial advisor, huh? Amber and I actually reconciled, believe it or not. Turns out Jason had shown her fake breakup texts between us and told her I'd been emotionally abusive. Classic manipulation. She's in therapy now and recently started dating this kindergarten teacher, who seems genuinely nice. As for me, I started a support network for cancer patients abandoned by partners during treatment. You'd be shocked how common it is. We've helped over 30 people with legal assistance and emotional support. And remember Dr. Martinez, my oncologist? We bumped into each other at Trader Joe's 6 months ago, both reaching for the same bag of dark chocolate peanut butter cups. We're moving in together next month. He was there during the darkest time of my life. Turns out he's pretty great during the bright times, too. Sometimes when life gives you cancer, a thieving ex, and family drama, you've got to make some revenge lemonade, you know? Smiley face.